Right now, there is someone thinking about you, someone who acted like they didn't care, someone who walked away, someone who thought they could lose you, and feel nothing, but time changed something, because now, they remember your kindness, your loyalty, your presence, the way you genuinely cared, and slowly, regret begins to grow inside them. Jesus is saying, my child. Some people only realize your value after they lose access to you. When you were there, they took you for granted, they assumed you would always stay, they thought your love was easy to replace, but now, they feel your absence, they notice the silence, they recognize what they lost. Jesus says, my child. What is real leaves an impact. And you did, not because you were perfect, but because your heart was genuine, because your intentions were pure, because the love you gave was real. Right now, you may still feel hurt, you may still wonder why things happened the way they did, you may still question why they couldn't see your worth before, but listen carefully, their inability to value you was never proof that you lacked value, it only revealed their lack of understanding. Jesus is saying, my child. Never measure your worth by how someone treated you. Because people who are lost often fail to recognize something good when they have it. And only later, when it is gone, do they finally understand. But now, something is different about you too. You are no longer begging to be chosen, you are no longer chasing closure. You are healing, growing, moving forward, and that changes everything. Jesus says, my child. Your growth will speak louder than your pain. Because while they are looking back, you are moving ahead, while they are realizing your value, you are finally realizing it too, and now, you don't need revenge, you don't need them to suffer, you don't need them to come back just to prove your worth, because your peace is no longer dependent on their recognition. Jesus is saying, my child. The moment you stop needing validation, is the moment you become truly free. So let them regret it, let them remember, let them realize what they lost, but don't go backward, don't shrink yourself again, don't forget how far you've come, because what is ahead of you is better than what left you behind. If you know your worth and refuse to go back to what hurt you, type Amen and continue moving forward. Now, even if they never say it directly, the signs begin to appear, because regret has a way of showing itself, quietly, unexpectedly. Jesus is saying, my child. People reveal what they feel, through their actions. One sign is this, they keep finding reasons to check on you, maybe through messages, maybe through social media, maybe through mutual people, because even after leaving, they still wonder about you, they still think about you. Jesus says, my child. Some people walk away physically, but emotionally they never fully leave. Another sign, they suddenly act differently toward you, softer, more careful, more emotional than before, because now, they understand your absence. They feel the distance they created, and regret changes how they see you. Jesus is saying, my child. Loss often creates clarity. Another sign, they compare others to you, and no matter who enters their life, something feels missing, because real connection is not easy to replace. What you gave them was rare, genuine, and deep down, they know it. Jesus says, my child. What is real leaves a mark on the heart. And another sign, they try to reconnect when they see you healing, when they notice you becoming stronger, happier, more at peace without them, because your growth makes them realize what they lost. But listen carefully, this does not mean you must go backward, it does not mean you must reopen old wounds, it does not mean you must forget the pain. Jesus is saying, my child. Someone missing you does not always mean they are right for you. Because regret and change are not always the same thing, and now, you must choose wisely, not from loneliness, not from emotion, but from clarity, from peace, from self-worth. Jesus says, my child. Do not return to confusion, just because someone finally recognizes your value. Because your healing matters too, your peace matters too, and what is truly meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself again. If you're choosing peace and self-worth over old pain, type Amen and keep moving forward. Now, the moment finally happens. The person who walked away returns, maybe with a message, maybe with an apology, maybe with sudden attention after a long silence, and instantly old emotions begin to rise again: memories, hope, confusion. Part of you feels happy, part of you feels cautious, and part of you wonders, should I let them back in? But listen carefully, Jesus is saying, my child, do not let emotions speak louder than wisdom. Because just because someone comes back, does not automatically mean they have changed. Missing you is not the same as being ready for you. Regret is not always transformation. Jesus says, my child, pay attention to consistency, not temporary emotions. At this stage, you must stop focusing only on what they say, and start watching what they do. Do their actions match their words? Do they take responsibility? Do they respect your peace now? Do they show real effort? Or are they only afraid of losing access to you forever? Jesus is saying, my child, true change is shown through actions, not promises. And remember this, you are not the same person anymore. You have healed, you have grown stronger, you have learned your worth, so don't abandon your growth, just because someone suddenly returns. Jesus says, my child, never go backward, just because something feels familiar. Sometimes people come back, not because they are meant to stay, but because life needed to show you how much you have changed, how much stronger you are now, how much clearer you see things, and now, you have a choice, a real one, not based on fear of losing them, but based on what is truly healthy for you. Jesus is saying, my child, choose what protects your peace, not what repeats your pain. Because love should not cost you your self-worth, connection should not destroy your peace, and anyone who truly deserves you will not make you question your value again. If you are choosing wisdom, peace, and self-worth over old emotions, type Amen and trust your growth. Now, you finally begin to understand something deeper. Losing them was not the end of your story, it was the beginning of your transformation. At the time, it felt painful, confusing, unfair. You cried, you questioned yourself, you wondered why it had to happen. But look at who you are now, stronger, wiser, more aware of your worth. Jesus is saying, my child, some losses are necessary to awaken you. Because before this experience, you accepted less than you deserved, you ignored red flags, you chased people who gave little in return, you tied your worth to whether someone stayed or left. But losing them changed something inside you. It forced you to grow, to heal, to finally choose yourself. Jesus says, my child, pain often becomes the doorway to transformation. And now, you see relationships differently. You no longer beg for love, you no longer force connections, you no longer ignore your intuition just to keep someone close, because now, you understand your value, you understand your peace matters, you understand that real love should feel safe, not exhausting. Jesus is saying, my child, I allowed this lesson to prepare you for something better. Something healthier, something more genuine, something aligned with the person you are becoming. And maybe the hardest truth is this: if they had stayed, you might never have changed. You might never have grown this much, you might never have discovered your strength. But now, you are different, more grounded, more emotionally free, more connected to yourself than ever before. Jesus says, my child, what broke you for a moment helped rebuild you into someone stronger. So don't only remember the pain, remember the growth too. Remember the wisdom you gained, remember the person you became because of it, because this was never just heartbreak, it was transformation. If you believe your pain helped transform you into someone stronger, type Amen and embrace your growth. Now, after everything you went through, after the heartbreak, after the healing, after learning your worth, a different kind of love begins to enter your life, not rushed, not confusing, not painful, but calm, steady, real. Jesus is saying, my child, the love meant for you will feel different from what hurt you. Because now, you are no longer choosing from loneliness, you are no longer accepting less just to avoid being alone, you are choosing with wisdom, with peace, with self-respect, and because you changed, the love you attract changes too. You may begin to notice someone who communicates clearly, someone who values consistency, someone who respects your heart. There are no games, no mixed signals, no constant fear of losing them, because real love does not keep you in anxiety. Jesus says, my child. Healthy love brings peace, not emotional chaos. At first, this kind of love may feel unfamiliar, because you became used to intensity, used to chasing, used to uncertainty, but now, you are experiencing something healthier, something stable, something mutual, and slowly, you realize this truth: love was never supposed to hurt the way it did before. You were never meant to beg for attention, you were never meant to fight to feel valued. Jesus is saying, my child. The right person will protect your heart, not constantly break it. And because you healed first, you can now recognize what is real, you can now walk away from what isn't healthy, you can now receive love without losing yourself. That is your growth, that is your transformation. Jesus says, my child. I was preparing you for a love that matches your peace. So don't regret what ended, don't wish to go backward, because what is ahead of you is healthier than what left you behind. If you are ready for peaceful, healthy, genuine love, type Amen and stay open to what's coming.